Jake Noecker, UFC 316 in Newark. Well, right now we're in Morristown, but with Coach John Wood. You might know him as the owner of Syndicate and Merab's coach. Coach, how we doing? Happy fight week.
Awesome, man. Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Everything's going great. Merab looks good. It's ready. It's go time.
And that's what I was going to ask. Obviously, I haven't seen Merab yet. He's been super busy today, but he feeling good. I know he's weight cutting, so what's his energy like?
You know, that's his least favorite part of things is the weight cut. The rest of it, the training, the camp, the fight, everything. You'll never see a happier man the second that weight is made. It's a whole shift, a whole change, everything. He's great, but we just got to get through the weight cut, and it's actually going really well. This one, I think he's starting to kind of change some things. He mentioned even earlier in the press conference, he does it very old school way. He grinds, he suffers, and there's a lot of things that we can get better at. But it's kind of one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it things, but we're trying to make it better. And I think he's starting to kind of come around. So it's been really good so far.
And I know you're, I'm sure, exhausted of talking about the fight. But now that we're here fight week, you guys have probably seen O'Malley around. How are you guys feeling about the rematch 3 days out?
I mean, it's great. O'Malley's a tough dude. You know, Tim's a good coach, great coach, and I'm sure they're going to have him ready. I'm sure he's going to be ready for this fight. I'm sure he's going to be ready for everything that, happened before in the first fight, and supposedly there was injuries and, yada, yada, yada. I think that everybody goes into fights injured. I don't think that that's going to play an effect on what happens here. It's just a matter of, can they change the things that they needed to change to win the first time this time? And I don't think that's going to happen. I think that O'Malley might have gotten better, but Merab's gotten better too, and I think the only way this fight goes down is if he catches him with the punch and knocks him out, and I've yet to see anybody do that to Merab, and I don't think that's going to happen in this fight. So I think it's going to be a tougher fight in some areas. They're going to have adjusted, but we've adjusted to what we think they're going to adjust. Obviously we had a pretty easy fight the first one. I do think, like I said, it'll be a little bit harder than that, but the outcome's going to be the same.
And, I mean, we see Merab, I guess, get clipped before against Marlon Moraes, but didn't matter. Came back, won the fight anyway, so safe to say that chin can and probably will hold up. But I'm curious because you said the injury story about O'Malley's not going to be relevant. It's about the skill and the preparation. Obviously, another big story has been Mr. Merab breaking his toe and yada, yada. Does that play into this at all?
No, that wasn't even a thing. It literally didn't even slow him down. He didn't tape it. He didn't do anything. Like we actually had a very good camp, a very healthy camp. Other than the little things, the nicks and the bruises that you get, the toe was nothing. Literally, like I was out of town for a fight for a day when that happened. I come back and it was already fine, and there was nothing. So I saw literally no change in how we trained. There was no days off. There was no extra rest. There was not even a complaint, as opposed to Umar's fight and even O'Malley's fight. We dealt with a lot of injuries and a lot of things for those fights. And the one thing about Merab, it does not matter. He will show up game day and he's ready to go. So, I don't think that there's anything to worry about in that department.
The machine. Can't hurt him, can't break his toe. He's the machine. And I'm curious, too, because obviously Merab has, in my opinion, and many others, the best cardio in UFC, maybe even UFC history. Is this something you guys have to actively train, or is he just given this gift and you watch it and what the hell are you doing, dude?
Man, it's unreal. I have never seen anybody do what he can do in training, in sparring, in the room, in a fight. I've never seen anybody with the abilities. And I believe that it's a God-given gift that he has there, but it's also his mental preparation, his perseverance of how he prepares for things mentally. I don't think there's anybody mentally, physically stronger than Merab. I've never seen anything like it. He's a guy that, I'm not kidding when I say he does 10 rounds. He does 10 rounds of sparring hard with some of the best guys in the world. And it only goes like this. There's never a dip in how the round goes. It's harder, faster, tougher, every single round. So I don't know where, like I said, I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but there's nobody built like that, man.
And a newer addition to the card is Patchy Mix, now taking on Mario Bautista. I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, or you will be. Merab will be too. Are the eyes on Patchy if he gets that win? Is that a potential next fight?
I mean, Patchy's a great fighter, coming over a champion from another organization, so you always have to kind of take a look at that. It's something that Patchy's been around. He's been in my gym. I've trained him. He's trained with Merab plenty of times. That's something that was always kind of expected for him to be there. I think the UFC is different. It's a whole different animal. We've seen great guys come over, and I don't want to say necessarily shit the bed, but we've seen a lot of guys shit the bed. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen with Patchy, but we'll see how it goes. Batista is no easy matchup for anybody. So if he goes out there and walks through Batista, and subs him in the first round, then I think we've got a conversation to have. I think that he's one or two more fights. Like I said, I think Sandhagen is the clear next go. Jan is up there too. I think he needs to beat one of those guys, and then it's a definite. But it's obviously something that is on the radar, not anything we're worried about right now. And when that fight comes, they're two great guys, two really, skilled fighters at the top of the game. It's going to be a great fight.
And obviously, a lot can happen in a fight, but if all goes well, if everything's healthy, could a Jan Sandhagen mix, whatever it be, fight, any idea when Merab wants to turn it around? He's one of the most active champions around.
He wants to stay active. That's what he loves to be in training camp. He loves to train. He's going to train no matter what. He'll be in the gym the next day or two after training if he's healthy. He doesn't care. So he'd rather have a goal to be training for. So I think he's definitely looking to get in another one before the end of the year. And I think that all those names you just mentioned are options.
And another big name you guys have is Syndicate, Khalil Rountree Jr. He's got a big one coming up in a few weeks against Jamahal. How do you see that fight going down? You going to make that trip?
Yeah. Actually, I go home for 2 days. I'm going to go over to Georgia with Merab for a couple days, and then Azerbaijan is right next to that. So make the trip over there for Nazim Sadikov and Khalil Rountree on that card. So I think it's a great fight for us. I've always loved that matchup. Jamal's a former champ. He's a big, tall, lanky dude, power. But I think that we just I think we beat him everywhere that he's good at. Where he's really good, I think we're a little bit better. So I think that's a fight that ain't going 5 rounds for sure. And I'm pretty sure I know who's winning it.
And my last question for you, a recent victory for you guys, the Monkey King, Jordan Levitt. Was this an internal conversation in the gym, Jordan, stop twerking, or was this a him decision?
That was him. I think he had a kind of his Sean O'Malley moment where he's cleaned some things up. Not that his lifestyle. He's the nerdiest, cleanest guy when it comes to outside of the gym. He's a good family man. He's got a wife and kids, and but just taking it a little more serious. I think that in his mind he wanted to take it a little more serious. He's put a little more work and effort into it, and obviously it showed. He went out there and got straight to business and handled it. And Jordan, I've been with that guy since I think he was 17 years old. He came to the gym, and he is one of the most naturally talented guys. And if he can lock in and do what needs to be done, he's going to be a top 10, top 5 guy, no problem.
I think he probably has my favorite knockout. I believe it was over Matt Wyman. Was that who he slammed with it was so nasty. But Coach, before I get you out of here, thank you very much for the time. Anything for the fans? Final words are yours.
Just tune in this weekend for UFC 316. You're going to see a newer and more improved and more vicious Merab Dvalishvili.
Love it. 316. You heard it here first. June 7th. Merab, defender of the title. Coach John Wood, very sweaty, but thank you very much.